Many believe the Amish live totally off the grid. No electricity, no modern technology, just horse buggies and candlelight. But that is not the whole story. The reality? The Amish actually utilize power rather differently. They don't totally reject it. To be very honest, their power strategy could be more clever than ours. It's a remarkable combination of innovative problem-solving and old-school principles that might show the rest of us a thing or two about energy independence. Let's dispel one major misconception. The Amish do not completely prohibit electricity. They seek to avoid being linked to the public electricity grid. For what reason? Being linked to outside systems implies losing part of their autonomy and maybe allowing in distractions they would rather live without. No binge-watching Netflix, no never-ending tick-hub scrolling. They think too much convenience might distract them from family, religion, and society. But that does not imply they are in the dark. Quite the opposite. When I visited several Amish communities, yes, I was served lots of wonderful baked pies. I saw how different each one is about power. The laws differ everywhere, thus that is. Every Amish district, that is, their local religious groups, sets its own rules called the Ordnung. It's rather similar to their own internal constitution. The community's bishops and elders, who gather often to evaluate what is permitted and what is not, set these guidelines. Believe me, these are not fast conversations. They can debate for hours, sometimes even days, on whether a new piece of equipment will do more good or more damage. So what is totally off limits? Anything that connects to the electricity grid of the outside world. It's about limits, not terror. They don't want to let modern life sneaking in and taking over. The Amish are still quite creative. Without compromising their beliefs, they have discovered smart methods to power what they require. Imagine solar panels in some areas, diesel engines, pneumatic air-powered equipment, propane-powered freezers, and more. It's as though they're succeeding in real-life survival mode. One Amish farmer let me see his workshop. To be honest, it was more effective than most contemporary garages. Refined over decades, they have created straightforward yet strong tools and systems. No overkill, no waste. Simply what is required to complete the task. The inventiveness keeps going, though. For instance, some Amish households in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, utilize tiny solar systems to maintain milk cold on their dairy farms. Others in Holmes County, Ohio, may permit battery-powered woodworking equipment, but draw the line on their use for anything deemed recreational. Every town customizes the regulations to suit their need. No one size fits everyone. It's as though every tribe has their own prescription for living in the contemporary world without allowing the modern world dominate. Here is a little-known truth. Amish towns began testing solar panels in the 1970s, roughly when disco started to chart. One senior said with a smile, "We just needed a way to keep our milk cold. We weren't trying to be trendy." At its core, that's it. They choose what is useful over what is fashionable. Today, solar electricity is silently humming away in mostly concealed locations across Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana, doing its work. Some operate a light or fan using small panels. Some run whole shops using bigger systems. But the same inquiry always drives them regardless of the configuration. Does this instrument distract from our ideals or support them? Their response to that inquiry? It has been rather successful and perhaps something we all could benefit from. As one Amish bishop put it, "We will consider a tool if it enables us to cooperate and support our way of living. But if it isolates us from one another, that is where we draw the line." That attitude clarifies a great deal about the Amish's approach to solar energy. For them, remaining connected to one another is as important as remaining off the grid. That is why, in certain Amish towns, you may discover shared solar charging facilities. Families get together not only to energize their necessities, but also to converse, check in, and deepen their relationships. It's a great mix of community spirit and practical necessities. But don't assume they're throwing panels on rooftops like it's a solar fashion show. Amish solar installations are governed by rigorous guidelines. To begin with, the panels often have to be road hidden, no flaunting. They also cannot be linked to the public power grid. Independence is all. Every device, therefore, has to serve a genuine goal. No powering up video games or big screen TVs. Some districts go even farther. They only permit solar systems that community members can build and maintain. This do-it-yourself policy has really produced an unexpected cadre of local solar specialists. Many Amish people have become expert solar technicians over the years without ever setting foot in a tech school. What is even more amazing, some of these towns are now assisting their non-Amish neighbours, whom they refer to as the English, in determining how to make better use of solar energy. The way they configure these systems is a lesson in down-to-earth engineering, believe me. Most Amish households employ ground-mounted solar arrays rather than roof panels. What for? Climbing up on the roof to clean or fix panels is simply not practical or safe. They tilt them just perfectly to capture the sun face south. One farmer even taught me how to locate the optimal tilt using a stick's shadow. Easy, intelligent, and efficient. Don't anticipate great power systems like you'd find on a suburban mansion. Though tiny, Amish solar systems are strong. Our average house might have 4 to 6 panels producing roughly 1.5 to 2 kilowatts of power. That's more than enough to operate basic items like lighting, refrigeration, and tiny workshop equipment. As one Amish carpenter quipped, "We don't need enough power to light up Times Square, just enough to run a saw and keep the butter from melting." Their system compatibility with ordinary tools really astounded me. One workshop showed me conventional power tools changed to operate on DC power from their solar batteries. You wouldn't even know they had changed. Everything seemed factory-made. When I inquired about it, the craftsman grinned and remarked, "Simplicity is her favourite child. Necessity is the mother of invention." And here's the coolest part. These solar systems are meant to expand over time. One family taught me how they began small and gradually added more panels and batteries over 5 years, only as their requirements evolved and their knowledge grew. No waste at all. No stress. How can you apply this knowledge at home then, even if your Wi-Fi isn't about to go away? Allow me to clarify. First solar power rule, site counts. You will want roughly 400 square feet of open south-facing area, about the size of a 2-car garage. Next, let us discuss cost, for indeed, it is a purchase. Depending on your demands, a simple Amish-style solar system could cost you between $3,000 and $5,000. Still, that's less than what many individuals spend on takeout and coffee over several years. Here is a fast shopping list for a beginning configuration. 4 to 6 solar panels, 400 to 600 watts total, $1,200 to $1,800. Charge controller, $200 to $300. Deep cycle batteries, $800 to $1,200. Inverter, $400 to $600. Optional unless you're going all Amish. Mounting hardware and wiring, $400 to $600. Surprisingly, the installation is really easy. Yep, even I did it without blowing a fuse, or my eyebrows off. Usually, the Amish utilize ground-mounted frames constructed of metal or wood. You are good to go once you mount the panels, connect the connections to your battery bank, and charge controller. A weekend might see you with a functional system. Just maybe don't put it in the same weekend you're throwing a barbecue. You'll want your brain and your circuit board completely concentrated. One important advice I picked up from an Amish craftsman is to begin small. Run your phone charger, a few lights, perhaps your fridge, then develop from there. You wouldn't buy a horse before knowing to ride, would you? The elegance of their method? It's not only about power, it's about developing knowledge, remaining autonomous, and never consuming more than you require. Amish Solar Power's actual brilliance? Simplicity is key. No complex grid tie systems, no large banks of panels spread across rooftops. Just simple, dependable energy you can keep without an electrical engineering degree. What about days of rain, though? What about cloudy winter weeks in the middle? Things become pretty fascinating there. Modern Amish settlements have become remarkably smart regarding battery storage. And no, while it would be amazing, they are not recovering Tesla batteries from electric buggies. Most households depend on tried and reliable deep-cycle lead-acid batteries. But in more modern areas, people are starting to play around with lithium iron phosphate batteries, called LiFePO4. Of course, for a greater price, these provide longer life and improved performance. A typical Amish home arrangement has 4 to 8 batteries wired in series. That provides them roughly 4 to 8 kilowatt-hours of storage, sufficient to maintain the lights on, the refrigerator operating, and the necessities powered during many overcast days. The cost is as follows: 4 deep-cycle batteries at $400 each, total $1,600. Battery monitoring costs $300. Smart charging systems equals $500. Connection hardware and cables total $200. Ventilated battery casing costs $400. For a strong off-grid storage system, total $3,000 to $4,000. The reward then? Actual savings. Many Amish families save 50% to 70% on their electricity bills, or roughly $1,800 annually, which is not terrible for a system operating quietly in the background. Most begin small, just enough battery capacity for essential purposes, such 2 kilowatt-hours. Then build progressively as their budget and system comfort increases. How about upkeep? Easy and reasonable. Regarding lead-acid batteries, monitor the water levels monthly. Every few months, clean the terminals. Check voltage daily. Some even use analog meters. Especially for workshops, some towns even exchange battery banks. They cooperate to keep the system running and cycle usage plans. Amish-style modern electrical grid. But if you believe solar is amazing, just wait until we discuss Amish wind power. Those wind turbines you could see whirring softly behind an Amish barn are not only ornamental. Dating back to the 1980s, they are part of a tradition that is quite returning. Wind power was welcomed early, unlike solar panels, which required some persuasion. As one elder put it, "Wind is a gift from God. It's been turning mills since biblical times." It's difficult to dispute that. Of course, the Amish have rules. Turbines have to be useful. No wind-powered popcorn poppers. They cannot be so tall they attract notice, and they cannot be linked to the grid. Most are kept under 40 feet, roughly the height of a barn. As one bishop said, "We want to catch the wind, not reach heaven." What really motivates me is how well wind power fits Amish values: independence, simplicity, and utility. Many turbine components may be made in Amish shops, unlike solar panels which need high-tech manufacturing. I saw one family's teenage boys construct the majority of their turbine from nothing. The father laughed and confessed, "We did buy the electronics from English sources." Still unable to weld a circuit board. What about community acceptance? That differs by area. Turbines are rather prevalent in Indiana and Michigan. Some in Pennsylvania are concealed behind barns or tree lines to be discreet. One farmer said to me first they were concerned the turbines would attract too much notice. Then he grinned and remarked, "Turns out, tourists are too busy taking pictures of our buggies to notice what's powering the milk cooler." Every community contributes its own spin. Out of respect for the Sabbath, some turn off turbines during Sunday services. Others want structures painted just in black or white to maintain modesty. Now, setup is very clever, so let's discuss it. Installing an Amish wind turbine is a bit like a barn raising, minus the barn, plus blades. It's a team effort, organised, effective, and brimming with neighbourly cooperation. Ranging from 2 to 5 kilowatts, the typical system stands 30 to 40 feet tall, more than enough to run a barn full of tools, a dairy refrigerator, or a woodworking shop. A complete setup consists of the following components: wind turbine, $2,000 to $3,000. Mounting hardware and tower equals $1,500. Inverter and charge controller equals $800. Storage battery equals $1,000. Controls and wiring equals $500. Overall price, about $4,000 to $7,000, roughly equal to a solar system but with a different sort of appeal. Most Amish use tilt-up towers, which may be lowered for maintenance or inclement weather. Its effectiveness makes it a clever, low-tech approach. Amish wind turbines' finest features? Maintaining one doesn't require Spider-Man. Most are built on tilt-up towers that can be lowered to the ground, making repairs safe and simple. No climbing harness needed. Usually 4 feet of concrete anchors the foundation. Guy wires provide further stability. One household I visited even marked their guy wire locations with vintage buggy wheels, functional and ornamental, though they insist that wasn't intended. What about the power output? More remarkable than you would anticipate. A single Amish turbine may produce roughly 300 kilowatt-hours per month in locations with average wind speeds of 12 miles per hour. One farmer said to me, "That's plenty to operate every tool in my store and maintain the ice cream frozen." Now that's energy efficiency with the correct priorities. Best of all, most households recover their investment in only 4 to 6 years from energy savings. Considering to follow their example? Check your neighbourhood wind speeds first. A consistent 10 miles per hour average will help to justify it. Here is a wonderful Amish advice. The wind might not be strong enough for a turbine if your laundry is not drying on the line. You will also require a 40 by 40 foot open area devoid of structures or trees. And sure, before excavating that skyscraper base, consult local zoning rules. Still, wind is not the only game in town. Some Amish towns are really running their homes and businesses on diesel engines, which may surprise you. Indeed, those soft putt-putt noises you hear in certain areas of Indiana and Ohio. Not mowers. Diesel engines running stationary. Starting in the late 1970s, one forward-thinking Amish farmer discovered he could operate his whole workshop on a diesel generator without breaking church restrictions. In his words, speed is not the goal. It's about being consistent. These engines are not for cars. They are for running commercial washers in family enterprises, cooling milk, or powering machinery. Let's discuss figures. Diesel engine, $2,000. Generator head, $1,500. Storage of fuel is $800. Controls and wiring total $700. Usually, a standard setup costs between $5,000 and $6,000. And this is where it gets smart. Several towns purchase diesel in bulk for as little as $2.50 a gallon. Some even create their own biodiesel from used cooking oil. One Amish mechanic taught me how they gather oil from nearby eateries, filter it, and conduct a straightforward chemical reaction. He remarked, "Our engines run on French fry power. The savings in cost are significant. Homemade biodiesel costs less than $1.50 per gallon. And when you're fueling a full-blown furniture workshop, that adds up quickly." Higher production output allowed one craftsman to tell me his diesel system paid for itself in only 18 months. The Amish Energy Tour, however, is not finished. Meet the unsung hero, Propane. If you've ever questioned how Amish households stay warm in winter, prepare meals, or maintain freezer operation, all without power. Propane is the Amish equivalent of a Swiss Army knife. It runs industrial equipment, forges, freezers, water heaters, and stoves. And it does it off-grid, silently, and consistently. As one farmer described it, "It's like having a faithful workhorse, only this one doesn't eat when it's resting. Amish homes usually consume 800 to 1,000 gallons of propane annually. That includes some shop tools, refrigeration, heating, and cooking. A fast analysis of a typical configuration is as follows. A 500-gallon propane tank costs $1,200 or $100 annually to lease. Regulators and piping cost $600. Appliances such as stove, water heater, fridge equals $2,000 total. The Amish are clever consumers as well. Most towns bargain bulk fuel prices, about $1.75 per gallon, much less than their non-Amish neighbours. Next, we'll look at how various energy systems, diesel, wind, propane, and solar, all mix into a really sophisticated low-tech ecosystem, maintaining Amish houses and enterprises running. And sure, we'll find the plugless cooling mystery. Propane's savings definitely accumulate. One family proudly presented me their handwritten annual energy ledger, every number precisely scribbled in flawless penmanship. Their overall propane expenses? Only $1,600 a year. That includes the fuel requirements of their little candy-making company, refrigeration, heating, cooking, and lots more. Now contrast that to the total utility bills of the typical American home. It is clear to understand why they are grinning all the way to the bank. The gas supply chain is where it becomes even more fascinating, though. Many Amish communities deal directly with nearby propane providers that deliver straight to the farm. Larger towns have gone a step further. They have formed their own propane cooperatives, purchasing in quantity and spreading fuel among households. One Amish entrepreneur said it's like a buying club. We're getting gas deals instead of fabric savings, though. And just when you believe they have exhausted smart energy options, there is another power source still turning wheels, literally. Allow me to present the water wheel. Yes, the same ancient technology you have observed in historical reenactments and antique photographs. But don't be misled. In many historic Amish communities, the water wheel is back, only now it has been improved with a contemporary spin. Hydropower is quietly returning in places like Holmes County, Ohio, and Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where streams are still abundant. These are not antiques. Rather, they are efficient, purpose-built systems producing between 3 and 5 horsepower, sufficient to operate a completely equipped woodshop. From a flow no wider than a garden hose, one craftsman I visited had his lathe, bandsaw, and sander all humming. How much does it take to construct a water-powered shop? Here is a fast summary. Water wheel, $2,000. System of shaft and gears, $1,500. Building channels, $2,000. Mechanical power transmission system, $1,500. Grand total, $7,000 to $8,000. Not exactly pocket money, but once it is running, fuel costs nothing. Their modernization of the system is where the real genius lies. Reducing maintenance to nearly nothing, today's Amish water wheels employ sealed bearings and durable synthetic materials. Many towns even construct retention ponds uphill from their stores, storing water to maintain operations even in drought conditions. One Amish carpenter said it's like a battery, except this one fills up every time it pours. The logic is as follows. So long as the water runs, a well-designed system can provide roughly 1,000 watts of continuous power, 24/7. That's more than 8,000 kilowatt hours annually, enough to operate a whole woodshop year-round. One woodworker said to me that unless you consider the one time a family of beavers chose to reconstruct his water channel, he has not experienced a power interruption in 15 years. But beyond the statistics, these systems are a sign of something deeper. They reflect the ideal balance of ancient and modern, where legacy meets creativity. One Amish craftsman remarked as he happily displayed his shop, "Occasionally the ancient methods are still the greatest. We only assist them in improving somewhat,